So you often hear me talk about the mental side of the game. When I'm talking about sports, I've had podcasts where I chat about like the mental aspect of the game. I've had people on the show that have talked about the mental side of the game and how you can use the mental side of the game to level up, right? You can separate yourself from the rest of the pack when you can actually tap into the mental side of the game. But so many people will listen to me on social media or listen to my podcast and they'll ask me, Shane, well, how do you actually do that? How do you train your brain to then be able to use it in the game that you're playing, right? Well, today we're going to be talking about a product that is going to help you tap into the alpha brain waves of your brain, right? And help you in that capacity. It's called Alphabeats, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into this. It's very insightful, very educational interview where you're going to learn about this product that is designed to help you on the mental side of your game. We're going to learn about the athletes that have used it and how it's helped them in their sport as well. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be talking about some of the things coming up, and we'll talk about the product itself, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be doing a giveaway for the product so that you guys can check it out yourselves. So shout out to Nation's Best Football for being the sponsor of today's podcast. Shout out to Alphabeats, who are willing to share their product here on the podcast and share with my listeners what it's all about. Super grateful for them. And Jorrit DeVries, who is joining us, is an amazing individual who is willing to take time out of his day to share stuff. So thank you so much to everybody who's listening. Stay tuned. Get the notepad out. Get ready to take some notes. It's a quick one, about a half hour of a podcast today, but you're going to love it. This is the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Gametime Guru podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of the Gametime Guru podcast. Shane Larson here, host of the show. Excited to be here with you guys today. You know, it's been a long journey, and it's been an amazing journey at that. I did a lot of reflecting this week on just the path of the podcast. I've been speaking to some people at my work, and they were chatting with me about my podcast. I'm just super grateful for the growth of the show and for everybody's contribution in that growth. This has been an organic growth, meaning I've never really paid for ads or anything of that nature to get it out. It's just organically grown because people have shared the content. People have been on the show and been willing to share their stories. So just grateful for everybody who's tuned in. All I ask for those who are listening, if this is your first time, or even if it's not and you haven't done so yet, just leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whichever platform you listen to. That helps the show get out to more and more people, and that's how we continue to grow it. So as you guys heard in the introduction, we're going to be bringing on the guy behind Alphabeats, and we're going to learn about the business side of things and how this ties in with sports. This is always an interesting conversation for me in regards to the business side of the sports world. And so we're going to be teaching you guys about a new product and how this serves the athletic world. And so joining us today is Jorrit DeVries, who is going to be sharing some insight about Alphabeats. So Jorrit, thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Thank you, Shane. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be on your pod. I looked into what you have been doing over the last couple of years, and congrats with your success, man. This is really hard to do. And take that from me. I've been at Spotify for 4 years before I joined Alphabet, so I know how hard your craft is, and you're killing it.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. And so let's dive in a little bit to the Alphabeats product, and just kind of give me a brief rundown of what it is. For those who don't know, I have it in the description here of the podcast that you guys can go check it out on listenalphabeats.com, I believe. Well, hold on.
Yep.
Make sure I got it. Listenalphabeats.com is the link for the website you guys can check out. But I want you guys to listen first before you go check it out. So let's talk about the reason behind the product, what it actually is, and we'll kind of dig a little deeper after that.
Yeah. No, this has been an interesting journey because Alphabeats has been around for longer than I've been with the company. It actually originated over 12 years ago in the Netherlands. A company called Philips, probably well known to most of your listeners, a big electronic conglomerate that does a lot of research. And this was one of the technologies, and part of this technology that we're using, it originated in Philips and got patented back in the day, got researched a ton by universities in the Netherlands. And it basically morphed into a brain gym for athletes, because what was established is that you can use music to train your brain to achieve the flow state, which is incredibly important for an athlete, right? But it also had other effects. It demonstrated that it improved sleep, it improved focus, and the team at Alphabeats in the Netherlands added a couple of other elements to the mix, and that is what is known as Alphabeats today. So the company, as it stands today, started in 2019 based on that older technology and redeveloped that to what it is now, and we launched in the US this year. So that's kind of the big journey. So we're new to the US, we're new to the athletic market, but we're definitely not new with our technology and our research, and that makes it such a powerful combination.
Oh, that's awesome. It's really cool to hear the history of it too. So what I was looking at, Jorrit, was the fact that it's like a headband. That's all I could see on the website. It's like a headband, and I'm sure people have questions on it. So how does it work? There's music involved. We talk about flow state, all this. So how does the actual product work to help the athlete?
Yeah, so if you break it down to its piece parts, the secret sauce and the real power of Alphabeats is the app and the algorithm. And the headband is a means to an end. So we see the journey evolve of this product, which is led by neurofeedback, which is the ability to read your brain activity. That's our feedback mechanism, right? And over time, you will see that 10 years ago, you could only do that in a lab environment. Now you can do that mobile with a headband, as you see it today. And probably 10 years from now, you can probably have other modalities like earbuds to register your brain activity. So the interesting thing about the Alphabet solution is that what you see is basically the headband, but what you get is the technology. So it's good for people to remember that currently we have one headband that is compatible with our solution, because we do look for a certain type of quality in the signal feedback we get, and we selected BrainBit, a California-based neurotech company, to support us with the actual measurement. But you're an athlete, you need your phone, your earbuds, and this compatible headset, and you're off to the races. So Alphabeats is a training that you fit into your daily routine. You can either do it daily or a couple times a week. You do it at rest. You put your headband on, you put your earbuds in, you select your favorite music. That makes it unique, because there's similar solutions out there that do part of kind of what we offer, but no one is able to train your brain using your favorite music. And so you select your music, you have your headband on, you have your earbuds in, and you go through a session. And depending on what you choose, if you choose a relaxation session or a focus session or recovery session, it takes between 8 and 12 minutes. And we offer you a variety of music combined with cognitive games, task switching games, and eyes closed and eyes open meditation based on your favorite music. And that combination has been the powerful secret sauce of Alphabeats.
Wow. Okay. So can you explain to us from a scientific breakdown, I should say, how that actually impacts the neurological? Because for example, I'll listen to music when I'm running in a long distance run, for example, and there's certain playlists that I play, but I didn't really think of it as a neurological thing. It was more so for me to keep my breathing down. Like, I don't like listening to heavy metal like I would when I'm lifting weights. But like hard rap music, I listen to country music when I'm running because it keeps my heart rate down and I can just focus. But maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe that's completely off from what you guys are doing. But do you mind explaining how the brain works with the music side of things?
No, you're pretty spot on there, Shane, because I think you're already answering part of the question yourself, because you pick your music based on what you like and what you need. So that kind of alludes to the power of music. There's been a lot of research over the years already in terms of what music can do to your psyche, right? In terms of calming you down or giving you that kick when you need it. I think looking at athletes, 9 out of 10 athletes that walk onto a soccer pitch or that walk onto the football field or that come out of the bus or off the airplane, what are they all wearing? Headphones, right? Everybody is trying to get into the zone using the music they like and the music that works for them. That could be country, could be hip hop, could be heavy metal. But that concept is kind of the universal concept of music and the best beneficial effect for your brain state. But that doesn't give you any feedback yet, right? And that doesn't give you any results. And but if you then add the layer of Alphabeats on top, where you measure the brain's activity and you work with the music, and that's our secret sauce. So there's not a lot of technical details I can give you on the pod, but just let's say this: you will notice that the experience of the music will change when we measure that your brain is not tapping into alpha. And maybe I need to explain the brainwaves for a second before I go into more detail. But there's basically 5 dominant brainwaves, right? So it goes all the way from delta to gamma. Gamma is high alertness, and delta you're at sleep. But in the middle you have the alpha brainwave, and the alpha brainwave is the brainwave that is conducive for focus. It's conducive for stress relief. It's conducive for relaxation and flow. And what we have developed with our system is that using music, neurofeedback to measure where your brain activity is at, and modulating the music or presenting the music in a way that your brain gets a reward when it's tapping into alpha, and that it gets a cue to tap back into alpha when it moves out of alpha. That is a bit of a technical explanation, but the experience itself will guide you through the training and will show you what you will hear when you're performing at alpha level and what you will hear when you're not. And that system has been shown to be very beneficial and very intuitive for athletes to fit into their daily routine.
Wow. No, that stuff is super intriguing to me as far as how those things work. So yeah. I guess I'll piggyback into this question then, which is, for example, what if I think something's working for me and it's helping me get into a flow state? And like, for example, when I used to be a boxer, before boxing matches, I actually used to, it's surprising because like, I have a variety of different music that I listen to, just like running, I listen to country. But in boxing, surprisingly, when you're about to go punch somebody else, you'd think you'd be getting into like a fight level music of some sort. But I would actually listen to Michael Jackson. And there was one song in particular. It was off of a movie called Free Willy. And it was about a whale. Anyway, there's a song that Michael Jackson produced. And it's that song. Anyway, I would listen to that on repeat over and over and over. And I felt like it was helping me get into a flow state. But I wonder if maybe it wasn't, and I just didn't know, and maybe it didn't get me in, it didn't optimize like something, right? Something wasn't being optimized. Do you see athletes that listen to their own music, but they realize like through your guys' technology that it's actually not beneficial for them and something to that effect? I don't know. I guess, I don't know if I asked that question right.
No, it's a good question, but I actually think that like flow is such an elusive thing, right? That it is the state where you as an athlete, and whether you're a corporate athlete in a big business or where you're an athlete on a football field, any athlete in its craft is looking for the flow state, the state where you're able to do what you need to do without thinking about it, right? That song, you're basically already, you instinctively felt that this song was helping you to focus and to concentrate on what you needed to do best, and that is punch somebody in the face, right? That's essentially what you were doing right there. But what we do hear a lot from athletes is that our system recognizes when you optimize for alpha through the trainings that we offer. Our algorithm keeps challenging you to make sure that you don't get fatigued in that space, right? So that even somebody that is using Alphabeats for a longer period of time, they will come in and they will get their alpha score, and that's the way we demonstrate to you like how able you were to tap into alpha during the session you chose. These scores get higher and higher because you get better and better at it, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're training your brain to instinctively tap into your alpha state more and more. But in order for us to maintain that level with top athletes, you need to have an algorithm that keeps adjusting kind of the way we offer our training to these individuals. So one thing I hear a lot is that it's a very elusive thing. Flow, tapping into alpha, knowing when you're in the right focus, because sometimes you feel you were doing the right thing, but your alpha score turns out to be a bit lower, and you start to think about like what was different, right? What did I do different? For that reason, we set up a secondary part of our training, and that's our journaling, right? Our self-reporting, where you can just keep a journal of, hey, I was doing this training, but this time it was after a workout or before a workout, or I didn't feel great, or I had issues at home, or I had medication or what have you. There is a very personal section in every single athlete's journey, to keep track of what's happening around the alpha training, what's happening in your life, what's happening in your athletic life, to also be able to look back and say, yeah, it felt the same as last week, but the results were different. So there are a lot of factors at play that make me focus well or not so well.
What's cool to me about what you're saying here, I'm it's awesome now that I saw the product on the website, and now learning a little bit more about the details of it. It's actually super cool how technology works, man. It's awesome to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely higher than like what I could comprehend, but it's cool that you're explaining it in a way that I can understand it. As an athlete myself, a former athlete, I should say, and I'm around athletes all the time. I talk to them all the time here on the show. I guess my question is this: the benefit for an athlete, obviously this is like a training mechanism. Like this is part of their training. They can go through these trainings that you guys have on with the technology, 8 to 12 minutes or however many minutes you had mentioned, they can do those. But how do they implement what they're being trained for into their actual sport? So like, can you explain it to me, like maybe as a basketball player, like how do these athletes like actually utilize, how does this benefit them on the court? They're not actually listening to music while they're playing, but like, how does this transfer to that?
So there's a couple examples it's a couple public examples that we have. For example, Maarten Paas, the goalie for FC Dallas. He's somebody that has been working with Alphabeats for a while now, and one of the things he tells us is that he uses it primarily to go to sleep, but just before he goes to sleep, and it helps him improve his sleep. These guys travel across the country. Sometimes they play a ridiculous amount of matches in a couple of weeks. They make millions of miles a year, almost in aggregate, in terms of how they have to play their matches. And for him, it's a tool to support him with sleep. There's other athletes that Cy Snead, for example, he used to play for the Astros in 2019, and he's now a star in Japan. He uses it for his focus. It's a pitcher, so former MLB pitcher. And so every athlete has their own journey in terms of where do I use mental training, where does mental fitness, mental improvement, mental training fit in my overall journey? The way we tend to talk about it, that athletes typically have their physical training, their nutrition, and their gear down to a T. They know exactly what they need. They have everything they need, and they keep it. There's not much they can improve there. But the mental aspect of the game typically goes neglected. One, because there is a stigma, and we see that in the US in particular with Simone Biles, for example, and how she talks about what happened at the Olympics 4 years ago, really helps other athletes to open up about, like, mental is such a big part of the game. You need to be mental as fit as you are physically. So that makes it for us easier to bring tools to market that tap into the kind of the mental aspect of an athlete's training. And that's kind of the way we look at it. Like, every athlete has their own journey. Every athlete knows that the mental portion is maybe half of the battle, sometimes even more. We're also not a solution that claims that we're a solve for everything, but we know that as part of a regimen, and as part of a training where your physical training, your gear, your nutrition, and your mental components are brought together, you will see the results that you're after.
So awesome. Those who have listened to my show, they'll know how big of an advocate I am for the mental side of the game. So this is why I'm excited that we're talking about this. I am a huge advocate of the mental side of the game, but so many people have talked to me about this. I'll ask athletes, how do they tap into that? How do they do this? And everyone has their own, like, experiences. Some of them say they were born with it. They're able to just lock in. But when the lights are shining, there's something more at stake. These people that are, like, quote unquote practice All-Americans, they can do everything at practice, but when the spotlight's on, for some reason, their brain goes haywire. They have like an out-of-body experience. They can't perform to their highest because their mind gets going in a million miles around. And so they always talk about, like, I get so many listeners that ask, like, well, what's something that's, like, tangible that I can do to help me with the mental side of the game? And this is one of those things. Like, this is one of those things that will help you with the focus side. And I love that you talked about sleep and how, like, that was how Alphabeats is being utilized. It can help you with sleep. Sleep is such a big part of like your athletic performance. It's a big part for anybody. You even mentioned the corporate world. Like if you're a business person, like sleep is just vital to your recovery and your overall performance as a human being, your overall health. But like from an athletic perspective, considering it's a podcast we're talking about, like, man, that is huge. Wouldn't you say like sleep is a massive piece of all of it, right?
Ultimately, it drives everything in your existence. So without proper sleep, you won't be able to accomplish much during the day. So I think athletes know that are sleep deprived. Parents know that have a little kid. People that are stressed out at work and cannot go to sleep or wake up early know that. So any tool that can help help you with sleep, is going to be very beneficial for an athlete as well. And we're just lucky that the research we've done in the Netherlands, in one of these studies, show improved sleep with athletes. So and we hear that from what we call our pioneers as well. So the pioneers is a group of athletes. It's over 50 athletes that work with us from the beginning, and that really helped us stress test the product, right? So every iteration we had, we ran through the pioneer group, but also every piece of feedback we got back from athletes, we tried to accommodate within the app, to make sure that the product is really catered to athletes, and that's still what we're doing today. There's athletes that are in the Dutch Olympic team that are practicing with Alphabeats right now in preparation for Paris. There's Team USA athletes that are using Alphabeats right now. There is American tennis pros currently playing in Paris that are using Alphabeats. So there is a whole array of athletes that will use it for different sports, for different elements of their training. Some use it daily, some use it a couple times a week. But the trick to Alphabeats is the same as the trick to weight loss or the trick to going to the gym. You need to fit it in your routine. You need to do it for a couple times a week, and you need to do it consistently for a couple weeks in a row to see the first effects. And then we would love for you to keep doing it, because if you stop going to the gym, your muscles will slowly disappear, right? If you stop focusing on your nutrition, your body will start to change. If you stop using any of these mental fitness tools, and Alphabeats in particular, over time that effect will also fade away. So fit this in your routine. Find a way that works for you, whether it's daily or a couple times a week, but just do it every week.
Oh man, I love that. So here's it's the off season for a lot of high school athletes right now. It's the off season. This is where I always tell the kids that I coach, I'm like, hey, it's the off season. This is where you get better. This is where you get bigger, stronger, faster. This is where you become a next level athlete. If you want to make the varsity team, this is how you do it. It's all made in the off season. This would be an amazing tool to include in your off-season training. Like this is something to put into that so that you can level up your game. And I always say, like if you can control your mind and regulate your emotions and have that control over your mind during your athletic career, you automatically separate yourself from the rest of the pack who's not doing that. And that's a lot of athletes that don't do that. So I guess my question for you to go here is, okay, so an athlete's listening to this, maybe a parent or a coach is listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, okay, cool. So how do I order this? Is it a monthly membership? Is it a one-time fee? How does the whole process work if I wanted to buy this product?
Yeah, no, it's great. So we're currently live on our website. We have an introduction offer that they can find on listenalphabeats.com. $4.99, you get the headband, which retails for $4.99, and you get 12 months of Alphabeats. So we're basically shipping you the headband, the BrainBit headband, the high quality headband, and we're giving you 12 months of Alphabeats with that. And that runs all the way through mid-June. So there's only 10, 11 days left for that particular offer. And then going into the remainder of the year, you will see that price point will rise, because we deliver a headband, 12 months of Alphabeats in a complete package right now. But after our launch offer is done, we're going to be offering Alphabeats as a standalone product for 3 months, for 6 months, for 12 months, with the headband on our website. But the price point of $4.99 for a complete bundle, you won't see again this year.
Okay, that's good to know. And so I would just encourage the listeners just to understand is kind of treat it almost like a gym membership. It's an investment into yourself. It's an investment into your body, and how you're going to be able to like take yourself to the next level. This is what you're doing. You're investing in your mental strength,
Yeah,
your mental training. So that's what it would be like. So, I'm sure those who are listening understand that, right? Like there's a cost to everything because if you're doing that, it's no different than going to the gym. You got to pay for it, right? So that's good. It's good to hear that. If anybody had any reservations and they're like, well, it just seems a little woo woo, some people say that
yeah,
these days, right? Woo woo, like what, like how is
yeah.
music going to help me tap into the alpha brainwave and so to speak? Like, I guess what would you say to the people that might have a few reservations, but they're still kind of they like the idea, they're listening to this podcast, they're like, sounds cool, but what's the difference between me doing that and just turning on a YouTube channel and putting my headphones in and going to sleep to some
Yeah.
ASMR videos or something like that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, that's fair, and I think that's kind of that's one of the pillars of how we go to market. We're not here to claim that Alphabeats is the solution for everything and for everybody, but what we do claim is that we have multiple pieces of research over the last 12 years that have established a couple of things. You can use music to train alpha. It's established that alpha training is conducive for athletic performance, for focus, for sleep improvement. It's established that that alpha beats training and alpha training in particular has a residual effect. So if you train your brain for a consistent period of time and a couple times a week, you will see effects that will last for a longer period of time. And lastly, the fact that you can now train your brain using your favorite music genres is pretty unique because there is no solution out there right now that fits so seamlessly into an athlete's routine as a music-based solution. So we talked about the power of music earlier. Music is very personal. So we have been able to establish through our research that you can pick your own music. You don't have to listen to soundscapes or ocean sounds or ASMR music to get into the flow or to tap into to an alpha state. We know that any music that feels right for you and that you like will already get you into a certain state because you like the music. It is an environment you want to be in. It is somewhere where you feel comfortable. And then the training we put on top, the combination between the music training and the cognitive games, that's the whole Alphabeats game, and that will give you the results over time.
So what I would actually, I would love if we have access to some data reports, but I might ask you outside of this, Jorrit, if maybe I could just get like a source that I could link here in the description, because what I wanted to share with people is like, as you're talking, for those who don't fully understand, and maybe you're like, well, I don't understand, this is the first time hearing about this. I think that you could start by understanding like the alpha brainwave that Jorrit is discussing right now, the alpha brainwave and the benefits of the alpha training for your brain, so to speak, and why this he and his team are bringing this to the industry, right?
Yeah.
Like this. So if they understand what the alpha brainwaves are, because a lot of people, when you brought up the 5 different brain, like and all the things there, I'm sure that was news to like a lot of people that are listening to this right now. And I'm not like trying to discredit anyone's intelligence or education or anything, but that's just not everybody talks about brainwaves, right? So I think if we started there, do you happen to have like a source that maybe you could send me that I could show some data reports on, like of any sort? And I think you could just simply Google it, but I just want to make sure we're getting accurate information out there.
Yeah. No, I'll send you some stuff. I'll send you a company profile with our research claims and the sourcing for which research we use. I'll by this Friday, we also have an extensive FAQ live on our website that will give more data. And we're going to be launching a content series, but that's not going to be in time for the podcast where we explain this soup to nuts as well, because we also recognize that this is mumbo jumbo for a lot of people, and we need to clear some of these questions before you can get into the solution. So I'll send you some stuff. Yeah.
No, that would be awesome. And this is why I do the podcast, though, is to educate people, including myself, on these types of topics. I think it's amazing. So, yeah, I want to help people, and I think this is a great opportunity to do that. And you guys are doing an amazing thing. So, if they want to buy, they can go to listenalphabeats.com. They can purchase from the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think that might be the best piece of information. Like the whole pricing I just dropped there. I'm not sure that's super helpful, because on the website everything is there. And maybe if I'm happy to send you a set. I'm also happy to give you one to give to a listener, or to if you want to do some engagement on your YouTube channel or what have you. I'm happy to hook you up with an extra set, complete with 12 months Alphabeats, and for any of your listeners.
Actually, let's chat about that, because I think that would be awesome, and I could help promote that to somebody who could use it for sure. I've got a lot of athletes that I'm in connection with, and I think that would be phenomenal. In fact, for those who are listening, I actually run a mental performance camp called Helix Mental Performance Camp. That's one of my businesses with my business partner, Garrett Crone, who was on the show last year. And that might be an awesome opportunity for us to share more on that. And that's in a month from now. So let's talk about that if you would be willing to. That's actually like perfect timing, because I think that would be phenomenal for what we're discussing. But yeah, so I've got the links to the website here in the description for the listeners. There's social media pages that I'll link here in the description as well. And I'll just encourage the listeners to stay tuned for more. Go to the website as they update the FAQs. Like Jorrit said, they'll update more and more on there. There's going to be more content that's provided. So even if you're listening to this the day that it launched, or you're listening to this a month or 2 months down the road, just go to the website for updated information on pricing and how to purchase the product. And then if you have any questions, is there a contact page on that website as well? I think there is, right?
Everything is there. People can contact us through any of the options on the website, and we'll get back. You can contact us to Instagram as well, Facebook, whatever you like. We'll get back to you.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll have it all linked there for everybody who's listening. So appreciate your time, Jorrit, and being willing to share your information with the rest of us. And appreciate the connection through Nation's Best Football with Bob, and being able to connect here, because this is huge for the platform. So for those who are listening, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because we'll be coming to you guys next week with another interview. And Jorrit, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Shane.
Appreciate you. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.